and welcome again to another amazing episode of the Philippine Business Playbook podcast. I'm your host, Bryan, and also the CEO of Tahche. Today, we have a special guest, a good friend of mine. We've known each other for, I don't know, at least 10 years, 10 plus years, right?
For sure.
Marc Schwartzberg, CEO of Office Furniture Heaven, and a nationally renowned furniture company here
in national, but
yeah. Well, we'll get into your story, and you can tell us. You can show your humbleness at that point. But you have navigated this chaos of work from home, work in office, the change of the offices from what it was before to now to kind of a hybrid, hot desking and all that stuff, and we've had a couple of conversations about the change of the office, so I'm curious about that. But most interesting maybe for our audience is Marc has successfully built an amazing team in the Philippines to work with his team here, and I believe that you've had some of them maybe come here and stuff like that. And
actually, nobody's been here yet.
Okay.
But I'm planning a trip.
You're going out there.
I'm definitely going out there.
Okay.
Going there. And then Dee, one of our designers, who's our designer, our lead, she's been out there.
So. Okay. Yeah, I knew that you guys have been face to face.
Yes.
And so I wanted to bring Marc on because I think that one of the things that I tried to emphasize and differentiate from what a lot of people are doing when they're first thinking about outsourcing is not thinking about it as VAs and not thinking about it as your virtual assistant that's going to help you do your calendar. That's fine, and we love that. But really, the gold is in creating a department, creating processes, creating systems, having junior people move up to mid-level people, move up to team leads, and so having the opportunity to bring you on and tell the lovely audience that I'm not making this all up, that it is possible. It can be done. And you're proof here with your amazing business acumen. You made it happen. It happen. So tell the audience who you are and how we got here.
So my name is Marc Schwartzberg, as you said, Bryan, and I'm an owner, the CEO of a company called Office Furniture Heaven, OFH, and we're primarily a New York-based office furniture and office design company. And I've been doing this for over 40 years.
Wow.
Crazy long time.
That is 40 years ago. They're probably still smoking cigars at the desk.
Oh, there were no computers.
A little bit different desks at that point.
Everything was much different. And what's even crazier than that is my grandfather, his name was Nathan Dalek, and he started an office furniture company in New York before World War II. Wow. And when I bike home every day, I bike down, well, and now I do it less often because I'm working from home actually, but I'm often biking by Broadway and Spring Street where the original store was.
Wow.
So that's
got to mean something every time you go by and you see it there.
It does mean something to me, and it's really cool. And so you could say that office furniture is in my blood.
Yeah.
And I've been doing this a long time, and I have shifted a lot, and you and your team have really helped me make that shift.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's thinking about things in a global sense is wild, and how do you set up your workspace to make that productive and successful? That's you're the expert on that.
Well, I don't know that I'm the expert. I don't know if many of our people who watch are familiar with Thomas Friedman, but he's a journalist, he's an author, and he wrote the book "The World Is Flat," and that's probably 20 years old, 15 years old. That book, and it's hard to think that in my little world it's going to affect me, but boy, has it ever affected me. It's affected all of us, and working with our great our employees. I call them, they really work for you, but they're really our employees who are in the Philippines. they're great, and it doesn't feel like there's any difference between somebody that works for us locally or somebody that works for us in the Philippines.
How do you, so like one of the concerns that or comments that we get from people when we're talking about setting up their team in the Philippines is just, are they going to know the latest stuff, and are they going to be able to adjust to new waves, and are they going to understand the standards that you have for, whatever spacing of desks and chairs, and are you training them on that, or did they know that, or how do, I mean, they're the ones that are doing, well, maybe what are they doing for you,
right?
And how do you keep them trained and up to date on the latest stuff, that, because it's evolving immensely even in the last 5 years.
Yeah. So I think it's great to talk about how the origin of how we started.
Yeah.
So we're both members of EO. We love EO. I know you're True Blue EO. I'm a True Blue EO, or Entrepreneurs Organization.
Yes.
And we were at an event. I remember I was with my wife, and I think you were with your wife.
And you pulled me aside.
Yeah, we were sitting down. It was actually at Rockefeller Center. It was a beautiful venue.
I remember.
And we were just talking, and then I was asking you what you're doing, and then I was saying I could really use some help for myself. Business was strong, and I needed somebody to help with my calendar, and I guess what you would typically call a VA.
Yeah.
And you told me the cost. It's just over a drink, and it sounded okay. This is good. I went back to my leadership team at the time, and I said, let's try this. And I said to Ian, who is my integrator, operations director at the time, I said, do you think you want somebody? And he says, well, I think maybe I could use somebody in my project coordination team. And then Ricardo, who was in finance, he said, well, maybe I could use somebody in the accounts helping me out. So I think at the time, and Ian was leading up our design department. He says, maybe we could use a designer too. So, and the price was right, and business was growing, and so I got somebody that was my VA, and then Ian got I think a designer, or maybe a project coordinator at the time, and I don't think Ricardo did anything. We said, well, Ricardo, you wait till we test it out.
see
how it goes.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening was essentially my VA didn't really work out so well, and but Ian's project coordinator and interior designers that he hired worked out really well. And at the very beginning, he told me, and I'll never forget this, and I tell this to everybody, is that you're going to say, Mark, you think that you're going to pay them not a lot of money, so maybe you should just don't demand a lot. But you said from the very beginning, demand a lot. Treat them as if they're a regular employee, and don't discount that at all. So the reason I think it worked out for Ian and it didn't work out for me is because I'm an entrepreneur. I'm not a manager. I really don't know how to manage people. But Ian is a true manager. So he was able to set up systems and processes that worked out really well. And before you know it, we had, I can't remember who the first employee was. She was dealing with our customers and working on scheduling deliveries and sending out purchase orders, and we have to send out certificates of insurance. And when there's a problem coming in, we have to deal with, we call it punch lists, and she was dealing with that very, very well. And then for the interior designer, so we hired, we had somebody who they have architectural degrees, and
right.
from.
And how hard would it be to get somebody with an architectural degree to do office furniture layouts?
You know how hard it is to get a designer in New York? I'll tell you how hard it is to get a designer in New York. We were hiring. My daughter went to Pratt, and it's a great design school, and so we were hiring designers out of Pratt to come work for us, but pretty much the only ones that we can get were the ones that were on visas from overseas, because the other ones got better jobs, and we can't pull the best talent. And ultimately, I filled out the applications for a couple of them, and with the lotteries, and it's very expensive, and I lost it.
And it's going up now.
And it's only going up, and it's only getting harder.
Yep.
But actually, Dee, who I mentioned, who's our lead designer, she won the lottery. So she's been with me a long time. And actually, she started out as just a basic designer, and now she's our lead. And she also has become a good manager with training. So now they have great, our designers from the Philippines, whether it's Cebu or Manila,
Yep.
Manila, they are really talented. And yes, we have to train them in our way. But
Sure.
the truth is, anybody we'd have to train in our way.
Even the guys from Pratt.
Even the guys from Bryan. I mean, Dee started out,
Right.
we had to train her. And, the talents that make somebody a good designer in New York are the same talents that make somebody a good designer in the Philippines. And we love them. I mean,
That's awesome.
yeah, they're great. And, we have, Danica, and we just hired Atria, and we just hired another one, Kath.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So,
So how many people are you up to right now?
so in the design department, we have Dee, who's domestic. She's in Brooklyn, and then under her currently there's Danica and Atria, and we just hired Kath. And then Danica originally started as another position. Maybe she was in customer service, but she had a design background, and we switched her around,
Okay.
and she's working out. And she's now expecting her first child, and, so
Oh, that's exciting.
and she moved, so it's really, you get to, we she's lovely,
Yeah.
lovely. So that's our design department. And then in our project coordination team, in our ops department, we have Claire, who's a project coordinator, and she's also my assistant, which is also still hard to this day, but she's doing really well because she's under Dave Fleck.
Okay. So he's managing.
He's managing because
Right.
I can't manage her.
Right.
So Claire and Cyril together make up our ops project coordinator. It seems, I know if you're new to this, it seems probably very daunting. And started off small. I think having people that are good managers will lead to success. And if you're managing people domestically, then you'll be able to manage people overseas.
Your problems managing people didn't start with the Philippines, I'm assuming.
I still have trouble. I mean, my company's doing nicely,
Yeah.
but it's just I'm not a good manager. So I hire people. that are
Your
good
strengths are
managers.
another.
Yeah,
places.
my strengths.
Yeah, I'm a couple of things that you said stood out to me, and first one being hiring a VA and the difficulties with that, and that is just something that I'm always talking about with our clients and people who would come to us asking about starting a team. Is like, you're better off building a department where we have real roles, real job descriptions. Like,
Yes.
you know what this person
Yes.
needs to do. You know what their KPIs are.
Yes.
You know what success looks like. And oftentimes with the VA, just be like, well, I want them to work with my calendar. I want them to answer some emails. I want them to follow up on this. And that's really, now there's a lot of successful ones, and
Yes.
we place a lot of VAs, and that's fine. But it's a more difficult situation, and oftentimes you're working with the CEO who's not necessarily spending a lot of time training or setting up processes, or
Late
so it's
for
really,
appointments, and always blowing off. Like, I got more important things to do.
So the most successful teams that we build are the ones that are, hey, it's a design department, it's an accounting department, it's because these are defined roles, they know what they're doing, and I think for a lot of companies, those are actually the ROI departments. Those are the ones that are most important,
Yes.
and so
Yeah.
focusing on that, where you're really going to get a return, is something that I try and emphasize to our clients. Is like, sure, get a VA. It's great. I love my VA. It's awesome. I can't imagine not having one. But it's almost a luxury. It's figuring out the departments and how to make your teams more efficient and cost effective, and hiring architects as opposed to
Junior
junior
designers.
peoples that are right up, somebody that actually has some design skill and professionalism and all that stuff is really where the real ROI is. And then another thing that you mentioned is about how your team's grown, and you have one that is getting pregnant and they've
Right.
moved. And I think that, especially in the design space, a lot of architects, engineers, design professionals in the Philippines end up going overseas and working in Saudi Arabia or the Middle East or whatever, New Zealand, because that's where they feel like their best opportunity to earn a good income for their family is. And just one of the reasons I started the company was that I wanted to provide opportunities for real professionals like this to work in the Philippines on their skills and not work in a call center, actually be be an architect, be an engineer, be whatever, and do that in the Philippines with their families and everything. And you're seeing the fruits of your labor and what you're doing there, and I'm sure that employee is just over the moon happy that they're able to stay home and still get a really good education or really good job and salary and healthcare and everything else that you provide for your employees. And so I commend you for that. And that's part of the reason I started the company. So to hear that is awesome.
Well, I could understand how somebody who's new to this has a lot of doubt about that, because I too had the doubt about it, and I didn't understand. But now it's probably 4 or 5 years that we're into it, and we've been through a lot together, with the team, with my domestic team. Another story that really exemplifies that. So I told you that, in the beginning when we were first getting people, we told Ricardo, we'll wait for you. So Ricardo also, he started out with me as just basically like a bookkeeper, but he really evolved with my company. He was with me for about nine years or so, and so eventually, business was really going very, very well. And in 2022, I had a really great year, and then 23, I was really planning on a lot of growth. So Ricardo said, well, we're growing, I need an assistant. So we hired Joselle to be his assistant. And Ricardo really turned out to be a great manager, and he trained her by the book and really beautifully.
And this is on the bookkeeping side?
Yes. So he hired Joselle from the Philippines, and Ricardo trained her, because he was, he was getting more to be like a CFO type. And Joselle was just amazing. And so eventually what happened, my plans to grow the company really didn't work out. It's a tough time to sell office furniture with all the chains and stuff like that. And we had to shift our company. We had to retract. So I was up to about 20 employees, and then now we're about 10.
Okay.
And with that transition, Ricardo, it was best for Ricardo to move on, and actually Ian to move on too. So that was hard. It was very, very emotionally hard for me to make that change, because we had grown the company together. But actually, not. I think tomorrow I'm going to have lunch with Ricardo, and Ian couldn't make it. But things happen. So what ended up happening was Ricardo got another job, and he's doing really, really well. And Joselle stepped up to his role.
Okay.
And Joselle is amazing. She's a wonderful person.
Wow.
She is essentially the breadwinner in her extended family.
Yeah, I believe it.
And so you know how this works, right? So she, through that time, she's built a house for her dad. She's built her own house. I know about different family situations, and she's always the go-to person within the family.
Amazing.
She's a special, special person. And she's my CFO, and she's doing,
wow. And what was her, what's her degree in
I don't even know. I don't even know. It doesn't matter.
But that's a common story, and because most of our employees are what I would call rising middle class employees. They're potentially the first ones to get a professional degree in their family, and they're getting this great job, and all of a sudden they've got to take care of they're they're very extended family.
Yes.
And
Yes.
to me, making sure that we do things right for our employees, as
Yes.
far as making sure that the taxes are paid and
Yes.
they're in Social Security and
Yes.
they're getting their health care
Yes.
and the all that stuff, allowing them to do the things that you're talking about
Yeah.
is amazing. And that again, that's the whole reason Tahche exists.
And it's very comforting for me too. I guess probably people are probably thinking, well, maybe I could do this myself. And we talk to EOers, and some of them are doing it themselves, and they're like doing things. And the truth is, I maybe I could, but I have absolutely no interest. And what I really like, and the documentation is pretty complicated, and that's why we have Joselle, and she figures it all out. But we know we're asking you about what we should be doing, and sometimes it's a little tricky to navigate because we do something for our domestic employees and we want to do something similar for our overseas employees, but we navigate it together. And there is physically a domestic team and an overseas team, but we try to treat everybody exactly the same. And it works out beautifully. And Joselle, I don't see her in any way less of an employee. And, recently there was earthquake and there was the typhoon. And, so we contributed and we made sure that they were taken care of. And then also the healthcare, domestically in America, we have crazy healthcare situations now. And as far as I'm concerned, it's relatively easy. We take care of, we started out with one level and then we said, well, what can we do better? And now everybody has like a couple of dependents that they want. And it could be, not necessarily what we consider an American dependents, but whoever they want as a dependent, they take care of. And it's there's a cost, but relative to what the domestic cost is, it's not, to know that they're well taken care of. And then we also have, like, recently we have a health challenge. So, because a lot of it, they're working the graveyard shift, and also concerned about how much movement they're doing, and so we did a movement challenge in New York, and everybody set what they want to do, and then we give everybody the same gift cards for whether it's domestic, and it's the same amount. We don't change the amount, so for them it's pretty, it makes a big deal. It's a pretty big significant thing. So, I have that pride that you have too.
Great.
It doesn't matter that, and that's why I want to see them. Like, it's important for us for us to see each other. I guess at some point maybe we'll fly them here. I know people, we talk about that. We have a thing we do Fun Fridays. So every other week, it's actually started in COVID because we weren't getting together domestically. But so on Fridays we'll do, either somebody will present and talk about their life, or we'll do some kind of, like, we ask questions and we talk about it. But we get to know each other and we like each other.
I think that once you get beyond, hey, I'm just going to have this VA that I'm going to leverage because I'm paying them $2 an hour, and that's going to, it's a cost play or something like that. And you move to, like, this is just part of my team. And it happens to cost less, but they're an amazing team, and we're demanding the best, and and it's part of our strategy. I think that all of a sudden it just becomes natural, and it just grows organically, as opposed to something that feels forced, or you're getting somebody that's 80% as good, but you feel like you're saving money, so you're sacrificing quality, and that anytime a business is accepting mediocrity, you're not going to grow.
You're in trouble.
You need to be always striving to be the best.
Yeah. So it's made it it's and look, sometimes we demand from you, right? As you've been growing, you've gone with growing pains and changes, so, and we appreciate it. And I've gotten to know your team, your internal team, and they've grown with us, and that's really good too. It's a really important part of our company. And I've referred a lot of people.
Yes.
It's like...
That's why I felt confident asking if you wouldn't mind referring the whole world.
The whole world. I want you to be the source for the whole world.
There you go. Exactly.
No, and I don't keep it a secret. And, I'm involved. I have this thing called an office furniture mastermind, where I have other guys in the office
Yeah.
furniture in
And
office furniture
I think
industry.
we've picked up a couple
Yeah, a couple, yeah.
clients.
And
there,
I think, going back to Thomas Friedman, the world is flat. Like it's just, it's really hard to get designers domestically, and it's really hard to keep them. And we, our design team overseas is great. And we had that, and then so Rhea, she was a recent designer, and she moved to New Zealand with her boyfriend, and actually now, so this is, I don't know if I should say this, but so we're like, Danica's pregnant, and we need to.
Oh no!
So so it's like, so we reached out to Rhea, and we said, maybe you could help us part time. So we're trying to navigate that. We'll see how that works out. But it's not as good as a full-time employee. But I think we're just desperate now. And we hired this woman, Kath, through Tahche, and it's going to take her a while to ramp up. So anyway.
Yeah, it's. I think that once you have. That's another thing I tell a lot of clients is once you're in the ecosphere and you've got employees and you've got relationships and you're able to talk with them, as issues come up, you'd be like, hey, how can we, and they know what's happening on the ground in the Philippines. Yes. They know and they can work together. Like, oh, maybe we could get this person, or I know this person that could help with that. Or, I'm doing this marketing campaign. I just need somebody to do this little graphic design thing or something like that. Oh, I know somebody that could, and all of a sudden you're in the ecosphere that gives you access to all this talent that you wouldn't, normally have.
Yeah, exactly. So, at first we were having people only in Cebu, and now Atria is in Manila. And then Danica moved somewhere else. We look at the maps when they present.
They're all over.
They're all over. And,
Okay.
So once you're comfortable, like I remember how hard it was in the beginning to think, I need a designer. I need to sit at a desk, and we need to roll out a plan. But once you get over that, it doesn't matter, with finance for sure. You look at the Excel, and we're sharing the Excel and the technology.
And really, it's I'm a big believer in right person, right place, the right seat, and you're going to need people domestically always. Always. There's going to be certain roles that you need to have people here, and then there's certain roles that would it matter if it's in Pennsylvania or the Philippines or wherever else? It doesn't really matter, and I think most or a lot of the successful companies have figured this out. I mean, my brother works for WSP, which is like the largest or one of the largest engineering firms, and their engineering office is literally right next door to our office in Manila. They got 200 engiers in there working or something like that.
It's the way of the world. Everybody's doing it. I mean, and depending on the scale of your company, what's the right way to do it? Accounting firms, engineering, So I'm really appreciative for the Tahche team, and you're there by our side when we have trouble. We're a small company, and so when we have to navigate things, it gets you on the phone.
If you're a huge company, you can afford to send somebody over there to manage it 100% of the time, and you don't need somebody like Tahche. But for a small or medium-sized business that wants to do it the right way, wants to have structure behind it, wants to be able, when things happen, you need to have a partner to help you navigate that.
Exactly.
And that's what we want to do.
Exactly. So, like Danica, she wants a raise, and her, we originally hired her for one thing, and and we talked to your team, and you're going to give us the answer, and we don't know, so it's great.
So what's the future hold for OFH?
I've changed. What I've shifted to is more of a consultation business. And there was a time when I was thinking about expanding in 2023. I was really wanted to get to a much, much larger scale company. But really now, as I've been doing this for a long time, I think what we're doing is we're really more of a boutique. And we're working with clients that understand they want a high level of service, and they're not just buying price. So because of the level of service that we can give, we're working more on a consultation basis. So we work with a client comes to us and they're interested, they're moving their space, they're expanding. So we let them know, we give them a rough idea of what we think it's going to cost. And we tell them, let's say, for example, you need to spend about a couple $100,000 on furniture. We're going to say we need about 10% of that, let's say $20,000 as a design retainer, and then half of that fee will go against your furniture purchase, and the other half will be our design fee. And what we're giving our clients is this really high level of service, so that it's, you know, if you're a small company and you could just buy it online or go to IKEA, you should do that, and that's great. But if you're a company that's, you know, running multi-million dollars of revenue and you have a bunch of staff and you believe in your office, it could be really expensive to make a mistake. Buying something that's too big or too small, or designing it improperly, or, you know, not asking from the landlord what you need to ask for, and it could cost tens of thousands of dollars in delay. So I am comfortable, and I think the future for us in the near term is just to stay small and high service. And it feels good for me, having done this for many, many years, working with clients that really appreciate the work that we do, and not really churning out a lot of work, but really a good level of service. And you know, I think there are companies that are bigger and larger, and that's okay. And then, you know, it's really easy to buy stuff online in high volume.
So you got to be in that.
I got to be in that sweet spot.
And it's a classic story of, you know, if you can niche down and raise your prices and find, you know, better clients, they're easier typically. They pay their bills. You get to do more creative stuff. You get to enjoy your work probably a little bit more.
Exactly.
You know,
and we're, you know, last year, 2024 was a transition year, and this year I wasn't really sure whether it was going to work or not, because they put this all into play, and business is really good.
Amazing.
Business is really, really good.
Amazing.
And that's why we're hiring. And you know,
and that's why you said you hired a few more in the Philippines. I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, like my biggest concern is that Dee, who's our lead designer, like she's working really hard. So I got to make sure she has her staff and her people. And our project, you know, this will trickle down to it starts with the design, but then goes to the project coordination team. But we have a nice team. I really like the team that we work with, domestic and overseas, and that's really what my plan is. I'm not really looking to change the world and go big scale, and I think a nice, well-run, medium-sized company, profitable, where our customers appreciate it, where the team is really happy. You know, one of our 1-year goals, we're deep into the EOS methodology, was to have a good work-life balance for the company, profitable and work-life balance.
Oh, nice.
So that's really what, you know, so it's like, it wasn't like, you know, we had number metrics and stuff like that, but we really weren't only about just killing the numbers, but really about, so that's really.
Don't tell my team that. You're giving away too many secrets.
That's really what we, and then, you know, we're shortly we'll be starting to work on next year's plan, but it's working out really nicely. And, you know, I'm not really sure. I think there's always going to be a need for an office. You know, people are going to still need
I think so. I mean, I saw numbers recently that New York is leading the charge back into the office. And, you know, you hear about all these, you know, major companies that are leasing, you know, building whole buildings like JP Morgan or you know, leasing amazing space. And
look, New York is the center of business worldwide. I think I love New York, and I think that there'll always be the need for an office, but it has changed, right?
Sure.
Do you go to the office?
Not too often. Although when I'm in the Philippines, I go every day.
Right,
so.
in the Philippines, but you're not always there,
right?
And you know, like a lot of us have changed the way we need an office. And I think that's a permanent change. But there's definitely a need for the office, and I think, with my experience and my team's experience, I think we understand that, and we're not we understand how people work, and we're using our expertise to help companies navigate that. And it's an interest. Look, I've doing it a long, long time. Like we said, when I started, there were no computers, right? And
well, this is the change for now.
Yeah.
20 years from now, it'll be another. 10 years from now, it'll be another change.
Yeah,
it'll be whatever the next phase is. Maybe we'll have just robots doing everything. And
look,
you go in.
AI. Come on, we're all thinking about AI
Yeah.
and how that's going to change. And I have adult children, I have grandchildren, but I also have a 12-year-old daughter. And I'm just going to her, parent-teacher conference and seeing how she's going to learn and how she's going to deal with these things. Boy, we don't know. We don't know. And I think anybody that tells you they know, don't trust them. That's what I think.
Yeah, it's wild. You hear about how teachers are trying to navigate teaching AI and using AI and preventing AI, like the whole gamut of how do you incorporate that into the curriculum, or at least acknowledge that it's there. So it's a wild world.
Yeah, I'm an optimist.
I am too.
Yeah,
you have
I
to
know
be.
you. I know you're an optimist. So we're entrepreneurs. So, I think that we're going to navigate through some interesting times.
Yeah.
We're certainly in interesting times. I think certainly that education is the key. And that's whether it's anywhere, any parent. The most important thing is to give their children the best education. And I talked to Joselle and her daughter Natalia, and that's what she wants, and that's what everybody around the world has to do. And having a good job where you could have the balance to be able to do your work and also take care of your family and give them a good education.
Yep.
It's real simple. Real simple.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Before we close, you got any final words or anything, or?
No, I just I appreciate working with you for all these years,
Thank you.
Bryan. It started out as a drink in Rockefeller Center, and we're here now, and I appreciate that you say that your goal is to help people out and help people in the Philippines out, and you certainly have done that, and it's my goal too, the people who work for me, to really have a good life and to enjoy what they're doing, and appreciate the work.
Awesome. Thank you, Marc.
Pleasure.
Well, there you go. What an amazing episode. Like, subscribe, comment, all that great stuff. You got any questions for Marc, put in the comments there, and we'll make sure we get those answered. And if you want to set up an office, you know where to get the best office setups in the world, right here at OFH. So thank you very much. Until next time, Bryan Luoma here from the Philippine Business Playbook podcast. And we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.
Take care.